Once in the heart of the African savannah, there lived a majestic lion named Shujaa. His golden mane shimmered under the sun, and his mighty call echoed across the land, announcing his reign as the king of the savannah. Every creature, from the smallest antelope to the mightiest elephant, knew the power of his roar. It was more than just a sound, it was a symbol of strength, authority, and fearlessness. Shujaa ruled with pride, his heart as mighty as the land he commanded. His pride followed him without question, and the other animals respected him. He was powerful, admired, and unshakable. But beneath the surface, he never realized how much of his identity had been tied to his commanding voice. But one fateful day, his world began to change. A fierce battle broke out between him and a rival lion named Simba. The two lions clashed in a flurry of claws and teeth, their cries shaking the earth beneath them. The fight was brutal, and though Shujaa fought with all his strength, something inside him faltered. His call faded, his energy drained, and for the first time, he felt a wave of weakness wash over him. When the dust finally settled, Simba stood victorious and Shujaa lay on the ground, exhausted, his chest heaving and his voice gone. He had lost the battle, but more than that, he had lost something much deeper. His once mighty presence and confidence, all of it seemed to vanish. For the first time in his life, he questioned his worth. He felt as though he had lost everything that defined him. Without his call, what was he? Was he still the king? Was he still the lion who once commanded respect? Days turned into weeks, and his doubts only grew. He wandered the savannah, his head low, and his eyes searching for something to remind him of who he used to be. The animals who once respected him now looked at him with uncertainty. His pride, once loyal and full of admiration, began to distance themselves from him. They no longer saw the leader they once followed. Shujaa tried to call out, but nothing came. He tried to lead, but his confidence had shattered. He felt invisible, as though the very essence of who he was had slipped away. The sound that had once commanded the savannah now seemed like a distant memory. One evening, as he walked past a group of gazelles, he overheard a young one whisper, "He is not the same anymore. He is not the Shujaa we used to follow." The words stung, and for the first time, he realized just how much his identity had been tied to his voice. That night, he found himself sitting by the calm waters of a small pond, gazing into the reflection, his mane still golden, his eyes still fierce, but something was different. The sadness in his eyes was undeniable. The loss of his voice felt like the loss of himself. As he stared deeper into the water, something shifted. He remembered the wise elephants, how they led their herds with quiet strength. He thought of the gentle gazelles, how they led with grace and humility. And the birds, how they sang not with force, but with love spreading beauty with their voices. He realized something profound. Leadership wasn't about how loudly you could call out, or how fiercely you could fight. True leadership came from within. It came from wisdom, compassion, and the ability to guide others with kindness, not fear. The next day, Shujaa returned to his pride. This time, he walked with a quiet confidence, no longer seeking to reclaim his old call. Instead, he sought to lead with the strength he had rediscovered within himself. As he approached his pride, he saw the familiar faces looking at him with uncertainty, but he was different now. "Let's work together," he spoke softly, but with a calm assurance that filled the air. "We face challenges, and we face them together. I am here not to rule you, but to guide you." His words were measured, and his actions thoughtful. He guided his pride through difficult times, offering support, kindness, and wisdom instead of dominance. Slowly, the animals began to notice the change in him. They saw not a king who ruled through fear, but a leader who led with love, compassion, and quiet strength. One morning, as the sun rose over the savannah, he stood tall, watching over his pride. The animals followed him, not because they had to, but because they trusted him. His mighty sound may have been gone, but his true power had been revealed in the quiet strength of his heart. A small cub who had once feared his commanding voice now nuzzled up to him without hesitation. He gently nudged the cub back towards its mother with a kind fatherly gaze. In that moment, Shujaa knew he didn't need a loud call to make his presence known. His leadership was rooted in his ability to listen, to understand, and to care for those around him. He had rediscovered his true strength, not through the sound of his voice, but through the quiet power of his actions, the wisdom he offered, and the love he gave to those who followed him. He learned that true power comes not from the noise we make, but from the quiet strength of the heart. Life will sometimes strip away the things you thought made you strong, your confidence, your sense of purpose, and your voice. And in those moments, you may feel lost, weak, or invisible. But it's in these silent, broken moments that you have the chance to rediscover your true strength. Your power lies not in the noise you make, it's in the quiet resilience of your heart, the wisdom you carry, and the love you give. True leadership and true greatness lies not in the roar, but in the soft, steady light of your presence. Losing what you thought made you strong can feel like falling apart. But remember, your strength has always been within you. Even in silence, you are enough. True power lies in the way you love, the way you rise, and the way you lead with kindness. You don't need a loud voice to shine. Your heart is enough to guide the way.